It's November 17th, 2021. I'm within this still. For some reason, there's a Lloyd Harbor Elementary School in their movement from elementary school to junior high had a trip, or maybe it was a fifth grade class trip. I can't remember what year it was, if it was Miss Nizick or if it was Mr. Moore. It was called Frost Valley, Frostvalley. I have a brief memory that I was there and entered like a room with bunk beds, and then I was on a bus with some people, but that was it. There is no connection. And then I remember everybody, like most people, had a sweatshirt that said Frost Valley on it. I have no idea what state it was in. I have no idea where it was located. I have no idea who went. I have no idea who I bunked. Like, there's zero memory. It's almost like later in life when I learned, when I was having trouble with one of the computers, and Jay did something and he hit a button. He had a compact or when he was moving stuff, a file on a CD or something, and it like it was a pie chart, and then it pixelated, and then it like changed colors, the pie chart. I mean, very rudimentary, not like 3D animated, like sophisticated, whatever. But I think that they do defragmentization also on a hard drive. If you get some kind of virus or something happens to it, I don't quite understand how technology really works. I never went into that field. I just know that it goes what I call in the fritz. It doesn't work when I'm around. So that happened because I also put up today, about Colonial Williamsburg, which was another trip that I went on. That one, though, I went with family members, being Vicky and Ada, which are Lewis's only two siblings. They took me there with Angela, and I can't remember who else went on that Colonial Williamsburg trip. But I think that was the one where we took a train, and we met a family member by the name of Richard, I believe. I think he might have been from West Virginia. I'm not 100% sure. But Colonial Williamsburg, I remember just this beautiful red brick, like in some of the buildings and whatnot. That's really the only memory that I still can access, but it's not something that sits like in waiting, that it's easily accessible either. There has to be a reason why in some format of this, between the amnesia, the dysphoria, the dysplasia. Tonight they mentioned also this woman about she had gotten shingles, and she had this, but on her forehead. They put it on entertainment tonight, her story, and she said she also got like really, really bad pains throughout her body. Yeah, I don't know if that's what they're calling it, shingles, if that's what they're calling it. They also put on, which I didn't think that they did, but they put on Queen Elizabeth and her first something or other. I don't remember the words that they used, but he was wearing, he was wearing a version of a valise, like a military important, and I hate to use the word costume, but I don't know what the right word for garb is in this version of English, GARB. Especially since if you put age after it, then it turns into this like horrible word in the vernacular for the low life that I'm living amongst. So that gets confusing. You don't want to insult someone, but the important levels of echelon in identity I don't have because I've been here. Let me think about this. So yeah, so there was the disappearance of my person and the memory several times. One is the trip to Boothbay Harbor, Maine, and what transpired there, I can't remember. It's very sketchy, like patchy, like pixelated, but defragmented in like it's not a full pie wheel, almost as if it's a wheel of cheese that somebody stuck a cork in or whatever, a sampler in and pulled it out and then put the plug back and made it look like it's still a full wedge, but it's, or full pie, but it's not. Whatever they call that in cheese country. So that happened. So it's Frost Valley, Colonial Williamsburg. I also, again, going to London, I remember being really out of sorts with the time differential, but we flew into Heathrow, commercial airline. I remember standing in front of Big Ben on the outside of the fence, wanting to take a photo because they said it was like one of the most important monuments in the area. And I put I had glasses at the time, I put them down behind me, and then I stood there for the photo. I knocked the photos onto the inside of the fence, and then I didn't know that you're not allowed to talk to the guards. They had to get a manager, and then they had to get me. I was so embarrassed. Oh my God. I was in a foreign country, no parents, and I am making a mess out of everything because I don't know the rules. Let's think about this. So that happened. But that's how it's been with trying to remember things. And this, even with Nicholas, when he came, I couldn't remember him being there as Mark King. He came, I was in third grade. That second grade was Mark King for my beginning of school under this flag, or under this one God under God in a what republic with liberty and justice for all. He saw the flag in the room when he was there. Then he got removed. Some computer lab got introduced after he was removed. I remember second grade we hatched chickens straight from an egg. Third grade was tadpoles with Miss Arvans. Craigler was second grade. Miss Arvans was interesting because it was a whole lot of essays, but again, my memory was so sketchy. She was trying to teach flags of the world. I was having a really hard time recalling them. She actually called my mom at home saying what a hard time with my memory I was having. By sixth grade, Mr. Moore, first male teacher I had by that point, he said he wanted us to do a book report on Ulysses, not Ulysses S. Grant, but Ulysses, with the Greek something with the Pillars of Hercules and some long voyage on a Viking type vessel. Like there was a lot of words I had never heard. He was trying to do a poet, like teach us different and like use a little theatrics, which he was not a very theatrical man, but he used his, I guess, gumption, whatever he could muster, because I was having trouble with the words being so far off, and everybody else, it seemed, was so much more advanced in the classroom, because after public school they had country club and whatever was taught there in advanced that I wasn't a part of, and I would be sent home. So by sixth grade, there was a discernible notice and difference with I was struggling, and everybody else seemed to be keeping up or bored. So Mr. Moore thankfully participated. And then I had gone to the costume store in Huntington, and I had asked for this silver chest breastplate with gold tooling of some sort. It was plastic, but had the whole thing and went in and did my book report in costume. Because they said that that was the closest thing to whatever I was describing that I was sent in for. I have to think about this. Nizik asked me something about a checkbook with my parents, which was odd because I wasn't really talking in class. Fourth grade was really bad. Everybody yelling all the time, like coming at me in like some debate club. And I'm like, why are you always so angry? You are an angry group of girls. I was like, I don't appreciate being around you or talking or even having to sit near any of you girls. I don't understand why you're so angry all the time. So by fifth grade, I didn't notice anybody in the class that I knew, so I wouldn't talk. And Miss Nizik called me out on that, and then was asking if my parents used a checkbook, and I'm like, they did. And so I'm like, she's like, you know what I'm asking? I'm like, I have no idea. Apparently there was a lot of stuff that went on in the school district. My mom didn't go to college, and she was a working mom. She didn't stay home. She was working with my dad at Douglas Bremen, so but a lot of the moms from the school district that had affluent husbands, they were the ones doing the curriculum at what now they call DOE. I don't know what it was back then, PTA, DOE. I have no idea what the difference is. Think about this. But the fact that I would go for these trips and then come back, and shortly after, even Nicholas, I went down, he wanted to walk down the hallway with me, which I did in the junior high. We walked down the corridor with a terrazzo floor and glass windows on both sides. We got past like some offices, and then there was a payphone with big cinder blocks with the payphone kind of like stuck into the side. And he was talking to me something about Venus de Milo, I think. I had never heard what that was before. I think he told me that he was the one that I was supposed to marry. And then when we walked back down the corridor, I had totally forgotten what he had just said. He said, now repeat for me what I just said to you when we were back there. And I said, I'm looking at you. I know we had a whole conversation, but you were so handsome, and I guess I got lost in our conversation. I was like, I don't remember what you said. I said, could you repeat it for me again? And so that was a problem, but it's just what's been going on while I've been stuck in the state of New York since I've arrived, but from very early on. And then that goes into a whole lot of 90s things where I went to Florida with Dan on one set of memory. The trip there was a little confusing in the ride to somewhere, and then I don't remember how we got to wherever we got. I kind of just woke up in a bed, and then they were at a golf course, something or other, and then I was rollerblading by myself because they were all off doing whatever they do on the golf course. And then there's pieces of that trip that are missing. So there's always been like this split in reality, and then I always wind up back on this side, which I hate, because this side is so painful. Tonight, Lou tells me that he was speaking to a scientist, whoever contacted him, about a prehistory. Some gentleman, so Lou is trying to second chair the first man's, or like reiterate or regurgitate what the first man had said. And I said, I was like, okay, I was like, I'm following you. I agree with that. I don't disagree. I was like, the incarnate I got, the feels like you have a history before you arrived. I was like, I mean, I didn't interrupt him and share my own, because what else you got, Lou? And then, like, he went off on a tangent I didn't find true. It sounds too human. And I'm, like, waiting for him to finish. Mine's more of, like, it starts, it stops, it starts, it stops, it disappears, and then it starts a different way, a different direction. But it's landed here, and here is really painful. And here is, I don't see it getting any better, and now it's in scary territory, because for me to use the AI sequence of algorithms that are being thrown me, I'm like, am I confirming the, like, a torture device that I'm stuck in? Is like, does anybody else know? Like, why does the Queen of England, supposedly, which is the woman they call Elizabeth II, have a guy in a black with gold, but yet then there's some other guy who just moved to California and he's got red and something else? What does all that mean in color of garb? It again, like, who's in charge? Like, is there anybody who, like, I mean, how do you even get to that level? Are they the ones in, like, I mean, if I'm at Colonial Williamsburg, I'm in New York. Who was left at guard? Because I see National Guard, but when they advertise, the few times I've seen an advertisement, it seems like a United Nations National Guard. What does that protect? And then what do you, I mean, is the other one the Royal Guard? Is there such a thing? Because I don't see that advertised down here. Is that more of a Canada thing? I mean, like, I'm trying to piece this together in my whatever, because, like, there's some serious issues. I told Lou tonight, I was like, I found this mathematician about boundaries. I read him the whole thing, and how I put together the collage. I was like, but really the collage for you, Lou, would be the pictures of the two diamond funnels with that whatever tube of bright light, because that's what I feel like our sky dome has become, which is really dangerous. I was like, and then on the molecular biology side, it's just like a ring of Legos stuck together. I was like, and then there's a microscope underneath, and then to the right of that, it looks like smoke just moving, and that's the math with legendary and boundaries that they've known for 100-year phenomenon. So now this isn't like, this is particle practical physics, or physics practical particle, some particulate something, and like nuclear family. I don't know what that means to the humans. I don't. I'm like, I've been stuck in this position. The humans came in and they hit me at some point and marked up my skin. I mean, if you ask this is the other thing. Until Tia Frio, 1975, has a sister, Nora, who's 1978. Until them, my children had no idea, other than Jay and Danielle, they had no idea what women were like. We had the nannies, and the nanny and I were very conservative. It was all business, and I was always clothed. My sons when they met Nora, they actually verbalized how different I was as a mom, and that they never appreciated me more until they met what the alternative to having my kind of mom, because I didn't like to whatever, but I never showed my children my scars, not by voice, not by the way that it was always said in front of anybody was about Jason, was if I didn't marry for love. That's it. I said I got pregnant before I got married. I was like, if I had my choice, I would have never gotten married to him. That's it. The extent of it, when they would ask me at business functions away from my children, I never even mentioned it in front of my children. somebody, and really nobody asked in front of my children because I would have just been wrong. But my children never even saw my scars of what happened when I was pregnant with Benjamin. That's how private the life was, and how willingly I never wanted to bring it up, never wanted to speak about it, never wanted to go public with it, never wanted to have to make a video diary in case anything ever happened to me, and then they have to fend for themselves. But I'm hoping that this can be stayed in a one view. See, on YouTube, they don't give you a portion where it says, keep private national security file, and to send it directly to somebody trustworthy on a separate server to protect yourself. They only have public. Doesn't really give me much of an option. And I really don't want comments, because it's a personal story of things that actually happen, and there's a serious environmental and weather pattern that goes along with this, and the interaction of my human, but other humans that are experiencing other things, that is a really dangerous. I don't know how to keep living through it without acknowledging it. I stayed silent for so long. I don't make comments. I don't watch other people. I don't comment on other people. Even in groups with women, they speak about stuff. I'm like, I missed that. I don't watch TV. If it's on Nicole, if it's on Disney Channel or Noggin, I've probably seen it. Other than that, probably not. So, I stayed really uber conservative until Tia Frio came along, and then all of a sudden it was like Pandora's effing box, and the spiral to nowhere, with me being such a polar opposite, trying to hold myself together, but whatever, in pacing myself backwards and forwards. And it's been an absolute nightmare since. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. Space Side Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.